All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the One Finance Masterclass. I am Sonam Khatri, VP Marketing at One Finance. This masterclass are designed in such a way that you can benefit from a specialized program where qualified financial advisors empower you to take informed decisions. All right. Before we get started, let me just take a small check on all the technicalities that my voice can reach to y'all. So, request our audience to please help me out here and my team, obviously, who will confirm with me that there's no technical issues and we can go ahead with the masterclass. Perfect. My team is giving a go ahead. I hope all the audience can hear us. All obviously the comment section is on and y'all can always message us whenever you find any technical difficulties. All right, so let's get this masterclass started. These programs are created in such a way so that the qualified expert or the expert matter can help you out in understanding a lot of topics. Today's topic is ESOPs, Employee Stock Option Plan. Heard of it a lot, and there are a lot of employees who have managed to build quite some amount of wealth through this. To understand this further, today we have an expert with us who is Mr. Aditya Gade. Aditya sir, thank you so much for joining us today. He's a subject matter expert, valuations at Qapita. He is a CA specializing in ESOPs and share valuation. And not to know, Qapita is also a leader in equity management solutions. Aditya, thank you so much for joining us today and taking us, our viewers, and all our audience through this particular topic, that is understanding ESOPs for employees. I've heard a lot myself about ESOPs, and we have seen a multiple employees creating wealth through ESOPs. Aditya, have had people, employees coming to y'all and saying that yes, ESOPs has helped us and helped us gain a lot of wealth through them? Aditya, let's just take one start over here. Just give an idea to our audience what this particular section is going to be about today. And
Mhm.
so I've heard a lot, Aditya, but does it really work for the employees who get them? Yeah.
Mhm. So before we start with the PPT and all the technical stuff, let me give you an example. So let's say we have an employee with us. So I know a guy who has been given an ESOPs a few years ago. The company finally IPO'd, so you might have heard of it. And that IPO made him a millionaire. So you can consider ESOP as a viable option because it can make you a millionaire, even a billionaire, you might say, if you plan it accordingly. It's not like every company's ESOP would make you a millionaire. Yeah, it depends on that. So let's get started with the PPT right away. Yeah.
Absolutely, Aditya. All yours. Please take over.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so to start with, we'll see what are the focus areas. So first would be understanding the ESOP, like every stock based payment and ESOPs. Then how ESOPs actually work, how what are the tax implications of it. After that, how we'll understand how to evaluate the offer. As I said, that every company won't make you a millionaire, but yeah, it's not like no company can make you a millionaire. It's on you how you decide to take the ESOPs. And last would be how to make wealth out of it. So how to build a wealth out of it, that would be our focus areas. Okay, so let's start with the first one, understanding stock based payments. Yeah. So to start with, let's understand what are stock based payments. So let's say there is an employee and there is a company. Every employee feels that company is making a lot, but not me. I know everyone of you would must be feeling that. So just to compensate for that, there is a concept called stock based payment. So it's basically your compensation would be linked to stock. So if the company performs well, you will get paid more. If not, then you will not get paid, or get a lesser pay. So that it is. So let's go with the first poll. Yeah, Sonam, you can take that.
All right, Aditya, let me just take forward the poll over here. Let's engage audience. We're still getting people who are saying that you're not able to hear us. I hope you can hear us. Maximum of our audience are able to hear now. Please check at your end once. Okay, so the first poll that we want to take ahead over here is, are you aware about employee stock option plans? So today's topic is about it, and we want to understand from our audience that whether you all know a little bit about it, heard about it, or know you all have particularly have expertise over it, just give us an an idea. Yes, no, don't know much is our particular answer poll over here. Are you aware about the employee stock option plans? Are you aware of today's topic? This will just help Aditya to understand that does he need to explain extremely in detail, or needs to just run over it because our audience is well aware of it and maybe wants to know more detailing or more technicality maybe about this topic. All right. So we're getting some answers over here. Yes, they are aware of ESOPs. That's really nice. All right, there are some that, like, I would request all of you all to please go and poll over there. All right, so I think I have the answers. Okay, technical team, please grow it. Oh, 73% of our audience is saying ESOPs. Good job, Aditya, over here, that you can just get into the details or the major technicalities here. But yes, obviously keep it relatable for our audience. Go ahead, Aditya, please.
Okay, so that is very good to know that most of you knows ESOP. I understand there are few who don't know, so no problem. We'll take this forward. Yeah. So let before going to ESOPs, let's understand what are various stock-based payment plans. So first one is ESOP. ESOP is basically company offers you an option to buy a share at a pre-decided price. The second is employee stock purchase plan. So it is like if you get 1 lakh rupees of salary, company gives you an option to buy 10,000 worth of stocks and it will be deducted from your salary. The third is stock appreciation rights. So it is linked to your company stocks. So let's say your stock is at 100 rupees right now, and if it goes to 200, so the 100 rupees jump in the stock you would get in any form, may it be in cash or in form of another share. So that can be anything. The fourth is phantom stock plans. So everything is same as ESOP. It's just that it is paid out in cash. So instead of getting a share, you would get a cash. And the last is restricted stock units. So restricted stock units is actually company gifting you a share, but in India technically company can't just gift you a share. There has to be some payment that is to be done by you. So that's why there is a small exercise price linked to it. But yeah, basically restricted stock units and ESOP plans are similar but not same. But yeah, these are the basic stock based payments. So from those five we will be discussing only one because it is the most commonly used thing. And actually the wealth that you are expecting to make can be through ESOP, not much from the other plans. But yeah, you can make wealth from each of them, but ESOP is very attractive from that. Okay, so to start with ESOP, let's discuss a scenario. Like you are an employee, you are working in a company and company wants to compensate you, but let's say company has some cash issues, or company wants to make you stay. So they can make you stay if you own the company. So I won't leave a company if I have share in those. So basically that's the intention of the company. But it's not like company is fooling you or making you wait unnecessarily. You would get benefited from it provided company does well. So in this scenario, you are an employee, there is an employer. Employee wants to invest and company offers you to invest. So if both these things coincide, then you get a ESOP plan. ESOP plan is structured in such a way that let's say the share of the company is right now at 100 rupees. So company gives you an option to buy that share at 550 rupees, but you have to stay for let's say 3 years. After 3 years you get an option to buy. Definitely the 100 rupees share would jump to let's say 300 rupees, but you are able to buy that at 50 rupees. So 250 rupees is technically your benefit at the point of exercise, not right now obviously, because you don't have the share, you have option to buy a share, and that too later, not right now. So that's what ESOP is. I hope everyone gets it because I got a answer that most of you know what is ESOP. The rest I hope everyone got that. Moving forward, we'll go to the next poll. Yeah, so please.
Absolutely, Aditya. So we got an idea that what ESOP exactly is. Now let's take it forward. What would you consider the most appealing benefit of ESOPs? Maybe it's financial growth, sense of ownership, or tax advantages. Yes, this is an interesting part, right, Aditya? That if you are given an ESOP, it may be a part of your salary, it may be a part of your overall performance or something like that. And if you're getting one of them, it should benefit them, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
part of your salary package or
Yes, yes.
something like that. So, what are the benefits that our audience thinks can be? Financial growth, sense of ownership, tax advantages. I believe there will be multiple ways over here. All right, so we have answers here. And Sanjay Sharma sir is saying that all the three benefits, yes, they think financial growth is the biggest benefit. Obviously, building wealth is something that Aditya has already stated in the start. Sense of ownership, yes, you're responsible towards your
Mm-hmm.
company, obviously, and this gives you more empowerment maybe to take it forward. And then obviously tax advantages, there should be benefit of tax obviously at every level. So go ahead, Aditya, please explain us how does this ESOPs benefit us.
Okay. Before starting with that, let me tell you that the audience is very smart because the percentage by which they have selected each option is the best representation what the employee should expect. The first thing would be financial growth, like financial wealth creation. Second would be a sense of ownership because they should think that they are working in a company they own. So there comes a familiarity factor in due to which employees generally work hard. And third, but not the most looked for advantage would be tax. We have tax advantage but not at that extent, so we can ignore that part. So a best representation of by a percent of weightage we can say. But yeah, moving forward, what are the benefits that we get, like even the company and the employee as well get from an ESOP plan? So first will be aligns employee and company's goals. So obviously company's goal is to earn more money. Employees goal would be if company makes more money, they would make money, so the goals are aligned. Not just that, it can make the employees stay, it retains the good manpower that company is expecting, and eventually the company can grow, and even the people who stay will make wealth. Yeah. The next would be offer potential for financial growth. As I said, that wealth building is the most lucrative and most looked for an option if you get an ESOP. So that's true. Enhances workplace morale. Yeah. So as I said, that it gives a sense of ownership. So if you have a sense of ownership, if you feel that this is my company, you would obviously work hard, and there won't be any lacks on employee. Like they won't be working in a very basic way. They would try to work harder. Encourages a sense of ownership that we already discussed. Attracts top talent. That is one more thing. As I mentioned, that there are people who have become millionaires using ESOP. So if a employee knows that this company is doing good or can do good, so top talents would go there if they are offering ESOPs, knowing that they would also make wealth and also company would flourish. So that's good. And last one is tax advantage. There are few tax advantage that you have, like you don't have to pay tax right now, it would be deferred for a later for a while. But yeah, we'll discuss it further. But yes, going forward, let's understand how the ESOPs work. I have gave you an idea like how it works, and I guess most of you know how it works, but yeah, I'll explain it in a very simple way. So let's say I'm an employee, I work at Qapita. So Qapita plans me to give some ESOPs. What is ESOP? Let's say Capita share trading at $100. Capita asks me to sign an agreement or grants me a ESOP stating that you can buy a share at $100. Like you would say, what is the benefit for me? But yeah, the agreement is such that I can buy a share, let's say from 3 years, 3 years after this time. But after 3 years, definitely the Capita share would be trading, let's say, at $500. So whenever I exercise, I would get a benefit of $400. So the first part is the company, the second part is the employee. What they do is employee offers an exercise price, company asks for an exercise price. There is a tenure fixed. Like in my case, it was 3 years. So only after 3 years I would get an option to buy that share. It is called an exercise of share. So whenever you exercise an option, you would get a chance to buy the share. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Moving forward, let's see what are the tax implications. So as I mentioned, if you had gotten a cash salary, it would be taxed right away, so no benefit of tax. But in case of ESOPs, there won't be any immediate taxation. Like whenever you are granted ESOPs, you won't be taxed right away. you would be not even taxed during the vesting period. Like for in my case it was 3 years, so you won't be taxed even in that period. At the time of exercise, also you won't be taxed, but technically that would be the same time you would get shares allotted. So yeah, at the time of share allotment, the like in my case the share price as of exercise was 500 rupees and the exercise price was 100 rupees, so the 400 rupees would be considered as perquisite and taxed. Okay, so after taxing I got a share. Whenever I sell the share, let's say, oh, the 500 rupees shares I sell at 1000 rupees, so the rest 500 rupees, like 1000 minus 500, would be taxed at the time of sale of shares. So that's pretty clear. It's pretty simple actually. But yeah, to go in more detail, as I mentioned, the first one is the perquisite. It would be taxed at the time of exercise or share allotment. Generally, these two dates are very close to each other. So when I exercise and when I get the shares, there is mostly a few days or a few months of gap. So you can take it as the same event. So at the time of share allotment, your perquisite would be taxed. Perquisite is calculated as fair market value of the share on the date of exercise. So please note, whenever you exercise or whenever the shares are allotted to you, you should check fair market value of the company as of that date, and it will be subtracted from the exercise price. Exercise price, nothing fancy to it. It is the amount that you pay to the company to get that share. So that's the exercise price. If you get that difference, that is the perquisite, it would be taxed under the salary income. One note here to make is, if your company is not a registered startup, then the TDS will be deducted as on that date. Please note that carefully, because it makes a conflicts with employer and employee, because employee would say, I have not received any money, I have just received shares, then why you are deducting TDS for me? So generally that's the situation that can cause a conflict. But yeah, you should know that it is required by income tax, your company can't do anything. The second part of taxation, like when like I got the share, I paid the TDS, so the difference of exercise price and fair market value as of exercise date is taxed. So that's it. So your cost of purchase would be the fair market value of the share as at exercise price. So let's say after 10 years you decide to sell that share, and that share price jumps up to 2000 rupees, let's say, but the fair market value as of exercise date was just 500 rupees. So the 1500 rupees would be taxed under capital gains. And please note, if I have taken 10 years intentionally to consider it as long term capital gain. But if you sell the share that you got from the exercise within 1 year, it will be considered as short term capital gains and will be taxed accordingly. So the, like I said, to talk more about it, if the period of holding in case of listed companies is less than 12 months, it will be less than or equal to 12 months, it will be considered as short term capital gains and will be taxed at 15%. If the holding period is more than 12 months in case of listed shares, it will be taxed at 10%. You would get a 1 lakh rupees exemption, like any capital gain up to 1 lakh would be exempt under section 11A, 111A. There won't be any indexation benefit because you are going under that section. The next portion, like most of the Indian employees work under unlisted shares companies. So in that case, if the holding period is up to 2 years, like 24 months, it will be considered as short-term capital gains, and it will be taxed as per slab rates. So I think you would know the slab rates under a new scheme or under the old scheme. Any scheme, it will be taxed under slab rates. If the holding period is more than 2 years, that is 24 months, it will be taxed at 20% flat, but you would get indexation benefits. For example, if you bought a share, let's say 10 years ago, what was the indexation rate at that time and what is now? It will be used to increase your cost, basically, because there would be a effect of inflation as well, and the difference amount would be taxed separately at 20%. So additional implications. Uh, so please note, like, if ESOPs can make you rich, it can take money away from you. So let's taking my example. If the shares, like I exercised my share at 50 rupees, but the share price was 100 rupees, so I got a 50 rupees per visit, like my benefit as of then, and TDS was deducted on that rate. So I paid tax on that. Let's say after 5 years I have decided to sell my share and the share price drops even below exercise price. So let's say it drops to 40 rupees. Then also you have to pay tax on that perquisite. Yeah, the capital gain won't be taxed because you don't have any gain, but that would be the case. So whenever you decide to take ESOP, please consider this as well. Like at the time of exercise, you may end up paying tax but not getting any benefit, and actually you won't get any benefit. So you should consider that as well. So the claimable acquisition cost as at the time of sell of share would be the FMV of exercise price. Why? Because you already paid a tax on that 100 minus 50. So eventually your cost of acquisition should be 100 because it would be unfair. Government will be taxing you twice on the same amount. So that's not fair. Indexation benefit, please note, is only available on unlisted shares. It can't be taken to
Aditya,
listed shares.
our audience would like to
Yeah.
again
Uh,
get more details on the taxation part. Request you to please go back one more slide and take them again with a little details, maybe, or with some examples about the tax implication. If we can go back one slide, please. Thank you.
mhm. Sure, no problem. Wait, can you please? Yeah. So let's discuss this first once again. So I am an employee. I'll take three examples. In each of them, there would be different scenario. Like one of which I'll make loss, one of which I'll pay tax but I'll make loss, and in one of which I will eventually make profit. Yeah. So first scenario, I am an employee. My company plans to give me an ESOP. The ESOP's exercise price is let's say 50 rupees. ESOPs as of grant date, like when the ESOPs are granted to me, are also of 50 rupees. Like share price is 50 rupees as of that. I can exercise that after 3 years. So 3 years pass by. I work very hard. Company grows, so I am very happy. So at the time of exercise, when I decide to exercise, the fair market value, like the share price, have jumped to 100 rupees. So a 50 rupees clear cut benefit for me. So that will be taxed then. So the 50 rupees will be taxed as of that year, and a TDS will be deducted on that and paid to government. So eventually you don't pay tax directly, your employer does it for you. So I think that is clear. Up to that, everything is clear. After that, let's say the share price goes three ways. First is up, second is down, third is no change. So let's say from 100 rupees, the share price goes to 200 rupees. So whenever I sell the share, then the capital gains for me would be the price as of selling that share, that is sale consideration, what I would get after selling the share. Let's say it is 200 rupees, and the cost of acquisition that I would get. Please note, once I pay tax on the perquisite, my cost of acquisition would be fair market value, like the price of the share as of exercise date. So the capital gains in that case would be 200 minus 100 is equal to 100 rupees. I think that is clear. The second example, share price eventually goes down. So if it goes down, let's say it goes down to 70 rupees, even then I make a capital gains loss. So I won't be required to pay any income tax on that. Third scenario, company's share price stays flat. If stays like I exercise, the share price was 100 rupees, which eventually becomes my cost of acquisition, and after let's say 5 years the share price is still 100 rupees. So in that case, no capital gain, no capital loss, no tax required, nothing. One more scenario is the share price falls, but it falls below the exercise price. Like eventually, for me, the exercise price, the price at which I actually bought the share was 50 rupees, but the share price falls up to let's say 40 rupees. Even then, the tax amount that I paid at the time of exercise won't be refunded. You have to pay that tax because at the time of exercise you were benefiting for it from it, so you would have to pay tax on that. I hope it's clear. Uh, If anything, you can put doubts in the comment section. We can discuss it definitely. One, like how the taxation would happen. There are two parts to it. First, we'll discuss the listed companies, then we'll discuss the unlisted companies. So, listed companies, it depends on holding period. So, if the pay is under section 111A at 15%, if the holding period is more than 1 year, like more than 12 months, you would be taxed under as LTCG, like long term capital gains under 112A at 10%. But even here, you have a benefit of taking 1 lakh rupee exemption. Like if your capital gain is up to 1 lakh, then you don't have to pay any tax. If your gain crosses 1 lakh, then the remainder amount, let's say it goes to 1 lakh 10,000, then only 10,000 would be taxed. Please note, in this case, there is no indexation available. Like if your cost of acquisition, that is fair market value as of exercise date, is 100 rupees, it will stay 100. It won't change due to inflation, like the adjustment that is done for inflation. The second part is unlisted share. So that too is divided into two parts, long term and short term. Short term is up to 2 years, that is 24 months. You would be taxed at slab rate. So let's say the share that you sold was of 200 rupees, and your cost of acquisition, that is fair market value as of date of grant, is 100 rupees. So the difference 100 rupees will be added to your total income and will be taxed as per slab rate. So let's say your slab rate, you're following the old regime, so your slab rate was 5, 20, and 30%. So your income is, let's say, 10 lakh. The 100 rupees will be added to that, and your total income would be 10 lakh 100 rupees, and it will be taxed accordingly. The second part to it is holding period is more than 2 years, that is 24 months. It will be taxed under 112A here as well, but the company is not listed, so you won't get that 1 lakh rupees of benefit and even the 10% of lower tax rate. You would be taxed at 20%, but here government has considered that the inflation would play a role. So in that case, you can take the indexation benefit, and using that, the cost of acquisition, or the cost of acquisition, which is fair market value as of date of exercise, will be increased by a bit considering inflation, and the difference will be taxed separately. Okay, going forward, uh, like I mentioned, I gave an example as well, that if you make a perquisite profit, but you make a long term capital loss or short term capital loss, that if you have a capital loss, then even then you have to pay tax. No, uh, no running away from that. Second thing, if, like I have mentioned, that cost of acquisition at the time of sell of share would be fair market value at the date of exercise. Why that? Because you have already paid tax on perquisite, so it won't be logical to tax you twice on the same amount. So that's why. And indexation benefits are valid for long term capital gains on unlisted shares only. Why unlisted shares only? Because the tax rate is 20%, and if the shares are listed, then it's just 10%, and also you would get that 1 lakh rupees benefit. So that actually is quite logical. I hope that is clear. Any questions in that, Sonam? Are there any questions?
Aditya, we do have questions, but I believe there are a lot of them. So let's take it in the end together. Let's keep moving this forward. And yes, I hope my audience is also okay that we take all the questions in the end. All right. Yeah, I think I have some yeses. Let's just go ahead and keep going with the same. Yes.
To assure the audience, we'll take every question. Don't worry about that. Can we have the screen, please? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so let's talk about TDS a bit. So, as I told you, TDS is only in one case, that whenever you have that perquisite gain, then there would be TDS. It is applicable for all the companies except one, that is eligible startups. What is eligible startup? It's not like if I call my company as a startup, then I am a startup. No. Eligible startup is only a startup which is registered with the government. So please note that if you are an employee of a registered startup, then you would get this benefit. If you are not, then you won't. Listed companies, big companies don't expect this benefit. Yeah, smaller companies which are registered, please note, which are registered, will be getting this benefit. What is this benefit? Your TDS deduction will be delayed for some time. What is that delay? First of three events. First is 5 years post allotment. What is allotment? When you exercise and get shares. So that day. After, on that day, you would count 5 years, and after 5 years, you will be there would be TDS. Second is if you sell those shares. So let's say if you sell that share in sixth year, then it won't matter, because at the end of 5 years only you would be uh, there would be TDS. Let's take an example, like you sell the share in next year only. So whenever you sell the share, you there would be TDS. And third will be if you resign from your employment or you leave the company. So if you leave the company, then there will be TDS. Please note these three events. Any event that happens first, that will be the time when TDS is deducted. I hope that's clear. ESOP reporting obligation for foreign company shares. Yeah. So please note that uh, even though you are an employee of a company which is listed in another entity, so foreign company includes listed foreign entities as well. Those companies will be considered unlisted in India and will be taxed as per that. So 20% if long-term capital gain, 30 like slab rate in short-term capital gain. Please note that if there are few employees of Google or Microsoft, maybe they would be expecting that they would get a benefit of that 1 lakh or 10% of a lower tax rate, but that's not the case. You would have to pay tax as per the uh, unlisted companies capital gains only. Reason being, in India, we only recognize two stock exchanges. One is NSC, other is BSC. If you are listed on that, only then you it would be considered as a listed entity as per income tax, not actually as per income tax only, and you would have to pay tax accordingly. The second is if you hold like if you exercise any options, you would have to report that in one of your ITR. So if ITR 2 is applicable, like you have more than one house property and you have a salary income, then ITR 2, in that case you would have to report that, because that is your income, don't forget that. And in case you have a business income as well, like you are a consultant or advisor and you receive an ESOP, then you have to uh, report that in ITR 3. Please note that. I hope that's clear. Yeah. So moving forward, how to evaluate an ESOP offer. Like I mentioned in the beginning, ESOPs can make you rich or ESOPs can make you a bit poor, not fully, but yeah. Let's say you have joined a company in which your total compensation is ESOPs only, then you would have to consider this as well. So how to evaluate ESOP offers? So generally, if you are in a company which is very early stage, because ESOPs are generally given, not in every case, but ESOPs are generally given by early stage company. So you would analyze what the business is. If you, do you believe in that business, like that would also be a viable factor. Like there is a company, world thinks that it is a good company, but I don't believe it, so it won't make any sense to take ESOPs from it. Because please note, if company does well in the future, you would get a benefit. If not, you won't get anything. Okay, so let's take an example. It is actually a very good example, I would appreciate that. So there are two offers in front of you. Like you're a person who is seeking job and you got two offers. One is you would get 1% of the company. That's a good thing, considering the company is big. If the company is, let's say, of 100 rupees of worth, then you would get 1 rupee. But yeah, and second offer is it is worth 1 lakh. So both the things are not actually like apple to apple comparison. The 1% of the company, you should check how big the company is. Let's say you get 1% of the company and company is Reliance Industry, then obviously you should jump on that offer. Like you should forget anything and jump on that offer, because the company is so big. 20 lakh crore of valuation, 1% of that would make it 20,000 crore. So a great offer. The other part, 1 lakh rupees. Let's say you are getting an offer of 1 lakh rupees. Personally, you know that you are worth, for an annual package of, let's say, 20 lakh rupees. The company is offering you 10 lakh and giving you 1 lakh of an option. So it's a not good deal for you. But if the company is way too small and you think it will grow very big, in that case you should consider that offer, because eventually that 1 lakh rupees can go up to 1 crore, 10 crore, 100 crore, anything. So you should not stick to a percentage or stick to an amount. You should do a total analysis, like what the percentage converts into the amount and what amount converts into percentage. So if you go that way, then you would take a good offer, you would select a good offer. If not, like I mentioned, if it is a 1% of the company and company is worth 100 rupees, you would get 1 rupee. If the ESOPs are worth 1 lakh rupees, but the company is not so good, so eventually the 1 lakh would be zero or less than 1 lakh. So that's a not good option for you. But yeah, I hope that's clear. Going forward, so as I was saying that, how would you benefit from ESOP? So I got the shares. Now how would I get money? Because eventually everyone wants money. They don't want any share because it's just a piece of paper. Like what it would benefit for me. So there are three options that from which you can benefit. One is if the company goes for an IPO and gets listed on one of the stock exchange, any stock exchange, like in India or abroad. If it gets listed, then you can sell the share in the stock market, and yeah, you can earn money. The second is, let's say some other company or some other player wants to acquire the company. So when they acquire, obviously they would acquire your shares as well, because they want full control, or they are ready to buy your shares. So that is the second way you can do. And third is, let's say there is no case 1 or case 2, that like there is no IPO, there is no acquisition from a player, another player. So the only options, like company also wants to want its employees to benefit in cash, obviously. So what company does is they buy back your ESOPs. So these are the three ways that you would make profit. There is actually very good line written at the bottom of the slide. Company's success is equal to more profit. More profit is better results for the ESOPs, and it will eventually turn to happier employees. So that is a very good line. It is eventually like that. Like if you work hard, if the company does well, you would get more money and you would eventually be happy. How would you get money? These are the three ways you can get money. Like in ESOP specifically, if the option is eventually cash settled, then you would eventually get cash, no shares, so no problem about it. I hope that's clear. So building wealth using ESOPs. So how can you build wealth? Let's say you are a very early joiner of the company, so instead of getting 1% or a half percent, you got 30%. So that is a significant stake. Like you can eventually control a company for a certain extent. So that can be beneficial, because you will make decisions which will grow the company even more, and you can eventually earn more money from it. This will also help you. Let's say if I was an employee of Reliance Industries in 1970s, at that point of time Dhirubhai Ambani himself gave me some shares and told me to hold on it. The company IPO'd in 1977. It got various bonuses, right issues, splits, etc. I would have thousands of shares which would be worth crores in now. So the compounding effect also you would get. It's just that you would have to wait if the company is good. If the company is not good, then like you have to decide that. The second is tax advantage. So what tax advantage you would get? If the compensation was cash, then you would have to pay tax immediately. The compensation is not cash, so the tax is deferred for you. Government also understand that you are not getting cash or money, so you can't pay income tax right now. So they have deferred it to certain extent for all the companies, and even more for the eligible startup. Please note, eligible startup, not every startup. Nowadays every company calls it startup, but it's not. It should have a registration from the government as a startup. The third thing is additional income. Like I got the shares, okay, I decided to hold on them. The share price would eventually grow, but yeah, that's the part and parcel of the shares. Second would be, let's say the company decides to give out dividends, and the dividends is a good amount, like it's 10-20% of the share price. Like dividend yield is 10-20%. That is a good return, because eventually right now FDs are giving a return of 6%, government securities are around 5%. Even few of the good companies are around 10% if you take the CAGR. So if you are getting a dividend of 10 or 15%, that is a good thing. So these are the three main benefits that you will have. First is long term financial growth. Like if you hold on to the shares, you would get a compounding benefit, and that would turn out to be a good wealth creation. Second is tax benefit. It is not that lucrative for tax benefit, but yeah, you would get a deferral of tax payment. You would have to pay tax, but it's just that after some time. And for startups, eligible startup, it is even further. The third is additional income, which is dividend payouts. Like company decides to pay dividend or company decides to pay out something, so that can also be an income for you. Okay, Sonam, you can take the polls.
Absolutely, Aditya. We'll take one more poll over here. It sounds as an absolute question after all the details that you've given us. Do you think ESOPs can be a valuable part of retirement planning? This is actually a smart question, huh, Aditya, I'm feeling over here. कि मतलब
Yes.
ऐसे company में जाना है, ESOPs चाहिए, and
हाँ,
then we are going to be multi-millionaire. My retirement planning is set for the year. This seems to be extremely
one
bullish.
comment over here. I hope most of the audience have seen Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. So over there, if you want to be Arjun, you can be an Arjun if you have ESOPs. You can even retire before Arjun. So please note that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
What a connect. It seems tonight we are watching Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara on Netflix, right? Netflix tonight because you have reminded
yeah,
this story today. But absolutely, ESOPs can be a valuable part of retirement planning. After the whole discussion that we had, we want to know our audience that really does this, or do you really consider SOPs to be a part of your retirement planning? When we plan our personal finances, definitely this is something that you should consider while talking to your financial advisors, that I do have an ESOP and maybe this can be a part of my retirement planning. So let's just understand from our audience, do I have the answers? Is the poll taken? Let me just check with my technical team. Yes, 73% people think it can be a super method for retirement planning. Yes, it can be a super valuable part of retirement planning. Not sure, 20%. Let's understand why this can be a part from Aditya. Aditya, definitely take it forward.
okay. So I agree and don't agree with all three of you. So don't worry. You have a correct answer in any case. So if you say yes, it can be a situation like you joined a good company. Like I gave an example a few time ago that I joined Reliance in 1970s. I was not born then, but yeah, let's take an example. So I joined Reliance Industry in 1970s. Dhirubhai himself gave me options, so it's a great thing. I hold on to it. The company got listed in 77. Even then, I hold on to it. And right now, the share is trading around $3,000, and we have 3,000 rupees, and we have not considered splits, bonus, etc. So the wealth will be massive. Like I would be one of the richest person in my locality at least. So that's a good thing. So yes, can be. No, how? Let's say I join a company which is a shady company. Like they don't know they would survive in next year as well. So if you join such company, then there will be a problem because the company won't exist. Then what is the worth of that share? So that can also be a correct answer. And third would be not sure. Like you are not sure what will happen. So I would suggest if you are not sure about the company, you should go with cash. Cash is the king. But yeah, if you take cash, you won't get the benefit of ESOPs. Like the wealth making would not be the case. You would just get cash. So all the three answers are correct. No one is wrong. No one is right. So don't worry. Okay. So Q&A section. Yes, Sonam.
Absolutely. We have received a lot of questions, Aditya, from our audience, and our audience have been so engaging today. It's been a great session. It already feels like. Let's take Q&As from all our audience now. Let's start with Nirmati. Okay, so we have a lot of questions coming from Nirmati as well. Let me just pick up one. What if I have to leave the company after my vesting period, but before the
Mhm.
company is listed, what happens to my ESOPs? So I believe that she's a have received ESOPs, and what if she
Mhm.
leaves? What happens to her ESOPs? Yes, please, Aditya, take it forward.
That is very good question. I am guessing that she has options. She wants to leave the company, and the options are vested. So that is a very good question and very common question. Like every employee who has a ESOPs, if let's say he gets another opportunity and he wants to leave the company, what happens? So a very good question. So it depends actually on the company. So you have to read that agreement, like that grant letter in many detail. If it has mentioned that you can hold on to the options if those are vested and you
Right.
leave the company, then you can definitely hold. If it is written that if the options are vested and you decide to leave the company, the options would get cancelled. So it would be considered as unvested cancelled. Sorry, like you
Understood.
were eligible but you didn't exercise, so the and left the company, so it will be cancelled and called as vested cancelled. So
Okay.
if like you should consider that as well. Actually, it is a very good question. Like I appreciate that question. That's good question. Yeah, I hope that's clear.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nirmiti. We have another question is that do they get ESOP option for unlisted company? Yes. Sorry, I'm answering Aditya from your end. Please go ahead.
No, I'm guessing everyone knows, Sonam also knows that if even if the company is unlisted, you would get ESOPs. But the problem would be at the time of selling that share. So you would have to wait for that event, one of those three events: IPO, any buyouts from another player, or company buys its own shares. So those things you should have to consider. But yeah, it is possible. It's not like impossible.
Okay, I have a question from HAL. HAL is something I'm going to pronounce for now. What about parent company being in US and the Indian company being a subsidiary? The question seems
Mhm.
incomplete over here. I believe the person wants to say that if the SOPs has been received from a company, that the company is from the US and its subsidiaries in India. Please go ahead, Aditya.
Hmm. Now I'm guessing the person like HL. I will say it as Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Fabulous shares, but yeah. But yeah. So I'm guessing that that person works in an Indian subsidiary, and the options that he has got is of US company. So that would be the case because it won't make sense other way. But yeah. So in that case also, even though you are an employee of a subsidiary company and you hold an option of a holding company, wherever it may be, you would
Hmm.
be eligible to exercise the things would be the same. It's just that it's a foreign share, so the foreign shares rules will be applicable on you, which we discussed actually. So no need to worry about that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have a question from Aspen, which asking any scenarios where you will end up losing money with ESOPs.
Losing money, there is a scenario. So let's take that example. If you are working in a company, any listed or unlisted, you are given options of with the exercise price of 50 rupees for 3 years. After 3 years, you eventually exercise and you hold on to that shares. So right now, your price actually which you paid for that share is 50 rupees. Let's say the company share falls below 50. Eventually, your outflow was 50 rupees, but if you try to sell that share, your inflow would be less than 50. So, in this scenario, there is a chance of losing money. But yeah, your like risk is limited to that exercise price, like that 50 rupees only. You won't lose any further money in that.
Okay. Um,
So, it's not like an option like you would lose more
all
money.
right. Hope that was answered. Let's take the next question. We have this question from Vishal who's asking, how do I know the value of my ESOP shares?
Mhm. That's also very good question and very hard to answer. Like for me, it's very hard because when the options are converted to shares, then we'll see the price of that share. When the
Hmm.
options are not converted yet, so they are options only, like the options we see in share market, FNO, future and options. So that is that type of options. So valuing an option is a very complex process. Like I belong how to value that, and then I know all the processes. We can't exactly predict the value of that option, so it is very subjective thing. So valuing an option is a complex thing, so it is a very different topic to discuss. We will have to organize another master class for that. But yeah, and if you have converted those shares, like you hold on to the shares and uh, you can sell those shares, so you can just see the market price in the market. If the company is listed, then eventually you will see the zero the account, like what the price is going right now. And if the company is unlisted, then it's difficult to identify what the price of the share would be. But yeah, you can like make a guess of it. Else you can ask your employer what the price of the company is. Like if I am given an option from unlisted company, the first like there would be a grant, the first question for me would be what is the share worth right now. So if that is good for me, I'll buy it, like I'll opt for the ESOP. If not, then I won't. But yeah, I hope this answers.
Absolutely, Aditya. Aditya, we also have a next question which is asked that how to decide or what are the key factors to decide whether I should take a ESOP option by the company or not. They are maybe asking the employee that do you want to go ahead with ESOPs, and that's why they are asking that what are the key factors I should consider while taking this decision.
Okay, actually, we have discussed it in the PPT as well. So, for me, let's say I am given an option to take ESOPs or not. Like I have given an options to take 10 lakh worth of cash or 10 lakh worth of ESOP. So right now, cash would make sense. But if I am okay foregoing my cash for now, then ESOP would be good because I believe in my company. It would grow, flourish. I would work hard for it, and eventually I would get more money, more than 10 lakh at least. But yeah, so if you don't believe in your company, don't take ESOPs. Take cash. If you believe in your company, you should take ESOPs because you would eventually be making more wealth using ESOPs than cash. So that is the main factor for me. If there is a scenario like right now, only I know the share is less worth less than the exercise price that is set. Let's say the share is worth 10 rupees right now and the exercise price set is 50 rupees. No sense because I don't know who would opt for it. But yeah, these are the basic things that you should consider. I would suggest you should consult one person who knows about ESOP a bit, like who has been given ESOPs previously, who has made wealth, so they can guide you better. We are also experts, so you can reach out to us.
Absolutely, Aditya. It's very important that whenever you're taking such financial decisions, you do connect with qualified financial advisors and take the expertise to take such calls. It's perfectly fine to have a simple idea about a topic, but while taking a bigger decision, you have a qualified person or an expert to take those calls with it. While I'm saying this, I would definitely like to put a point over here that One Finance itself, if you all have any questions related to ESOPs or anything related to your personal finances, you can always connect with One Finance, who will help you out in taking those informed decisions about your personal finances. So, definitely, any questions related to ESOPs, you can always connect with One Finance. And like Aditya said, Aditya is expert as well. You can connect with him for the same. For complete financial advisory or personal financial advisory, you can definitely connect with One Finance. Okay, let's take the questions. Let's go ahead with the questions. Okay, Sanjay is asking, what if the company is frequently offering ESOPs? Oh, this will be really good, actually, right, Aditya? Like, am I missing something? Aditya, you can hear me? It seems you're on mute.
Yes. Now I can. So sorry, I missed the last bit. You can please repeat. It
Absolutely.
would be
Sanjay is
great.
asking over here that what if the company is frequently offering ESOPs?
Actually, it can, like, it is also very good question. The audience today is very smart. I should appreciate that. Like if the company is offering ESOPs very frequently, it's like a person who has been given a lot of ESOPs or who is very high, like hierarchy wise very high level person. So I respect that question. The answer to it would be if the company is diluting more of its liquidity. Like I own 100% of my company and I am continuously giving ESOPs which is reducing my wealth. So if that's the reducing my holding in the company, if that's the case from a certain extent, like if it is 10%, then it's all right. But it is going at 25-30%, then it's alarming. Like why I'm giving out so much shares and diluting my stake. So you should be cautious. It's not like it's a bad thing, but employees holding let's say 30% of the company stake would be alarming. So you should be cautious. It's not like it's a bad thing, but yeah, you should be cautious. A good question once again.
All right, perfect. Let's take one more question. Mr. P or Miss P, I don't know. P is asking, the question is that what about secondary market? Is it possible to sell the ESOPs in the secondary market?
Actually, we at Capita can help you with that. So keeping that part aside, so you can reach out to us. But yeah, secondary market is actually very unpredictable. Like if I hold a company of a unlisted company and I want to sell that in a secondary market, I don't know whether I will be able to. Or second thing, it is not regulated, so I don't know whether I would get a good price. But yeah, there are situations like we can do that deals like uh, a investor and a employee is brought together. Say shares are sold to them, employee gets their money and at a good price. Like it is possible, but it's very rare in India. Obviously, in other countries, it is quite frequent. Capita is one of the player in this, so one of the big players in this. So you can consider that as well.
Absolutely. We were happy to connect with Capita for this particular topic because we could have not gone to any other person, right? When it comes to SOP, it has to be Capita. So thank you, yes, Aditya, for joining us today and doing this particular session for us. Let's take this last question. There are multiple questions. I need to say this, but we will request Aditya, please take some time out and go and reply back whoever you could after the session
Sure.
from your personal handle. Please request that. Okay, let's take this last question. Mr. AP is asking, I have resigned and my ESOPs expired due to my resignation. If I rejoin
Mhm.
on the same terms, can the company still give me or reissue those expired shares?
So there is no rule regarding this. So if there was a rule, I could have answered that. But there is no rule. So if the company is ready to do that, then definitely. If company is not, then we can't help it. So that's the basic question I could answer
Absolutely.
because
It's
there
the
is no rule.
relation maybe of how you joining the company will take that
Exactly.
call. Yes, I hope we were
Correct.
able to answer a lot of questions. Extremely sorry for all those people we were not able to answer. Hope this particular section or the session was very insightful for all of y'all. Y'all will have this recording on all the three platforms: the website, the One Finance website, LinkedIn platform, and the Twitter platform. Y'all can go and watch this complete session again, the masterclass again. And yes, we'll request Aditya to reply all the people who have questioned on our platforms to just go and reply if possible. Other than this, if you have any questions related to ESOPs, you can always connect with One Finance, where we offer personal finance advisory and we provide financial plans to you all according to your unique situations. So definitely connect with us, connect with our company whenever you all want to. And obviously, for masterclass, you'll have to come on our platform. We get the best of experts for y'all. Aditya, thank you for doing this for us. Like I said, I would have not asked anyone else or any other company to join us today when it comes to SOP. So thank you so much for this expertise from your end, and request you to stay connected with our team so that all the people who are coming with these questions related to SOPs can always have your expertise also in place. All right, so let's close this today. Like Aditya said, today we have to watch Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara on Netflix today, right, Aditya? So
Correct.
let's do that. Have a great Friday evening. Have a super weekend, everyone, and enjoy your weekend, guys. Absolutely. Bye bye.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Bye.